are now tuned in to my main man Dubs. If you want that garbage, go somewhere else. If you want that music that matters, he came to the right spot.
What up, kid?
Hey Dub, talk to him.
This is not for the weak-hearted. Ever since the beat started, the flow switched up from...
What's up, fight fans? This is Counterpunched with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua says this about Oleksandr Usyk. He says that he is confident that he can persuade a reasonable Oleksandr Usyk to step aside for the Tyson Fury showdown. The Ukraine southpaw is AJ's overdue mandatory challenger and wants either the WBO belt or a hefty step-aside fee to let the undisputed decider happen. Okay, and he said this, quote, AJ says, I think Usyk will be keen to step aside and let the fight happen. We've reached out to his management team. He's a reasonable person, and he'll understand the magnitude of this situation. Okay. He says, ideally, I'll go right, but ultimately, all I want to do is focus on the fight. It's a challenge for me. Okay. What do I think about this? I think that Joshua's doing all he can to give the fans the fight that we want to see. Okay. But the question is, how much will he have to pay Oleksandr Usyk? How much will Usyk ask for? You know, I think Usyk should really sit back like a boss and really see what they offer. And if that offer exceeds what they were willing to settle for, hey, fair play to him. Because according to Joshua, he says if I go right, I've got Tyson Fury. If I go left, I've got Usyk, another tough fight. So I think at this point, everything should be applied on Joshua's end. I like what he's doing because he's at least preparing for whatever. Okay, he's not focusing on one person or focusing on the idea of, he knows what the best one is. Okay, the Fury fight. That's the biggest fight, rather. Not the best, but the biggest. And he understands that. But at least he hasn't really totally dismissed the idea of fighting Usyk because he's so focused on Tyson Fury. That would be the wrong idea. Why? Because we don't know what's going on with Tyson Fury. I don't think Tyson Fury knows right now. I don't think Bob Arum knows. I don't think Frank Warren knows. I think it's up to a mediation hearing to decide how this is all going to come about. Because AJ doesn't have any problems unless Fury has problems with Wilder. Okay, so Anthony Joshua, he has his own obligations. He's the unified champion. He's been defending the unified champion, the mandatories, and all that stuff, you know, for the longest, as long as he had the belts, which none of these fighters have no idea what that means except for Oleksandr Usyk, because he was the undisputed cruiserweight champion. So he knows how to defend belts, and he didn't do it for long before going up to fight for a mandatory to get where he's at now. Okay, so Anthony Joshua, you know, besides waiting around for Tyson Fury, he knows and understands he still has a job to do and an obligation to fight those mandatories, to defend his belts. Okay, that's what a champion is about. It's not about how much money you get or this, that, and the other. I know it's a prize fighting. I know money is very important, but a guy like Anthony Joshua that made $85 million the fight before last, okay, and about $10 million the last fight because of COVID, he took a pay cut because normally he would get about 20 million pounds on a regular fight, especially like Pulev, a fight that is a mandatory fight that's not demanded. You know, he took a pay cut. I think he should be pretty good. I think he should be okay as far as money is concerned. I've heard Anthony Joshua say something that he said in an American accent, and he was referring to money. He said this, "I got enough of that," right? And I believe him. And that was a few years ago. So imagine what his net base or what his banking account looks like now. I don't think he's worried about money. So either way, I think he has enough money to pay step aside money too. That's going to leave a lot of questions if that's if that's $2-3 million, because that's like Oleksandr Usyk getting, an early birthday present to him, right? Or a late Christmas present from Anthony Joshua for him to step aside and for him to be that guy that is in line. Okay. So a lot of questions will come about, but I think he's prepared to do that if Tyson Fury can hold up the stuff on his end. See, all this stripping and WBC and all this stuff, if the belt gets stripped, I think that's what Joshua's waiting on. I don't think Joshua will fight Fury without that WBC belt. I think he'll fight whoever that is. That's why he explained it the way he explained it, after he knocked out Kubrat Pulev. Whoever has the WBC belt, I want. See, for him to want anything else is for him to do a Triple G. Triple G said the same thing. I want to be undisputed champion. He wanted that, right? But then all of a sudden the money started rolling in fighting Canelo. Then all of a sudden he didn't want that anymore. His goals, his dreams, his focus was derailed, was split, right? It wasn't the same. So I don't think that would be the case with Anthony Joshua, because he's wanted it too long and he has been the cash cow, unlike someone like Triple G. So I think he is preparing to do what it needs to take to get that fight done. If Tyson Fury can get out and bargain and get out of this this obligation that he was in, I think Joshua is trying to do the same thing on his end. So hopefully they can come together. That's what I feel about that. But he's confident that him saying that he's confident that Oleksandr Usyk will step aside, I believe that is him willing to pay that amount of money for Oleksandr Usyk to step aside, whatever the hell it is. But again, if it's a huge number, he's going to raise the bar on people that's in the same position that Oleksandr Usyk's in, right? Especially when it comes to stepping aside, because what's going to happen. They're going to say, well, hey, Oleksandr Usyk got $3 million to, from Anthony Joshua to step aside. So I want all the money that I can get. He might raise the bar. He might ruin a lot of people's idea, spoil a lot of people. He might set a trend on the amount of money that a person can receive from step aside, especially if it's a 7-digit number, which I think it will be. I think it will at least be $1 million, maybe $1.5 million, maybe $2 million, if I was to guess. But if it's something higher than that, that's crazy. Okay, because you have to ask yourself, what did Oleksandr Usyk make on his last fight purse? You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where Oleksandr Usyk could be in a situation where he does end up getting a nifty payday just for being in the position he is and having the decision to step aside. So I think that I'm looking here. Okay, see, here's the thing. Oleksandr fight purse, 1.5 million guaranteed fight reported to pay out against Chisora. Okay, Usyk will earn a guaranteed 2.5 million split purse, which does not include pay-per-view. So 2.5. So basically, Joshua, if he comes up with 2.5 million, he may step aside because that's a fight for him. He won't be wasting money. He'll be wasting time. And I think Oleksandr Usyk will probably decide, okay, what's more important, this fight purse or my time? Okay, but that doesn't stop, I don't think. It stops Oleksandr Usyk from fighting other people, but it's at the risk of losing that WBO mandatory slot. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Anthony Joshua and his confidence that he can get Oleksandr Usyk to step aside. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.